lot of people feel like, their eyes are 20/20, they can see everything in the existing world, but one of the things I found out is there's a lot more than just this that we see. We only see a spectrum of colors, and some of us can see a little bit more into the infrared, some see more into the ultraviolet. And when I was born, I thought everybody saw what I saw, because I could see the auras around people, which to me, was just, I thought people just kind of glowed, and some people not so much. And as I was growing up, I would say things to different people like, you're really dark today, or you got a black hole in you, and they'd come after me. As a little kid, they'd come and beat me up, and I was like, "Oh, what did I say? Can't everybody see all this crap?" And as I grew up, I kind of shut it down. By the time I was in medical school, I was told to shut it down because they wanted me to do diagnostic testing and be able to see with their technology, their CT scans. And medical school was just mainly CT scans and X-rays, and we would do fluoroscopy, which was using X-rays to do real-time scanning on people. And it wasn't until I was a resident that I actually started opening up again. I actually, when I had the bout with cancer, was when I started opening up again. And it was really interesting because by then MRIs were out, and everybody thought, oh, MRIs are great because they don't put out radiation and all this stuff. And when in actuality they flip your electrons side to side and do cause more damage than they know. So we were under the thinking MRIs were great because they wouldn't cause damage, but they do. And so anyway, I started seeing things again, seeing things in people, and the healing of my body and increasing my vibration made it so the auras became very vivid again. And so clear seeing is very important. We only actually detect 3 to 5% of the energy around us through our 5 senses. The tasting, the smelling, the seeing, the hearing, the feeling. We only detect 3 to 5%. A lot of people are on the lower end of that, the 3%, because they get so mesmerized and everything, they don't pay attention to their senses, and so they don't pay attention to that other 2%, but you can get them up to 5%. And then we have clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and clairveda. And clairveda is clear knowing. And clear knowing is that voice you hear in your head saying, oh, this is right, this is right, this is not right, but visualization, the clairvoyance, basically is opening up the third eye, which is a third component that sits right here in the third eye chakra. And this is the midbrain chakra. It has to do with the pituitary gland, the pons, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the medulla, the cerebellum, whereas this is more the cortical chakra up here, and that's the clear knowing. And so the clairvoyance actually has to do with the occiput part of the cerebral cortex too, because that's where the visual cortex is. And the rear part of it is actually the occipital prominence back here, right there. You feel this knob on your head. That's the polar opposite of the third eye. So that's a part of that chakra, believe it or not. It's the rear portion. Now, I'd like to do a meditation real quick about opening the third eye. The third eye, we close it down because as we grow up, we see things when we're a little child, and then we tell our parents, oh, geez, I saw this, and it scared me, or I saw that, and they're like, you can't see those kind of things. And in reality, we can. Like our daughter Audrey, she was able to see animals and things on the other side, which I thought was fascinating because there exists other planes or dimensions on the other side, and we're actually interdependent dimension. And that's fine. That's fine to do that. But what assists us by seeing the other dimensions or seeing the auras of people in this dimension is that it kind of gives us additional information so that we can make clearer decisions, clearer observations, you might say, because observing is one of the biggest things we do. Our society has become very visual. The men have become very visual with the women, and the women have become more visual with the men, and everything that we see on TV or on a video screen, or our visual cortex is constantly being stimulated with the illusion that's been created in front of us. And so it's important to open that third eye in order to see what's real, what's true. Does that make sense? So anyway, let's do a visualization of opening up the third eye. So what I want to do is I want everyone to take a big deep breath and then ground yourself into the earth, way down into the magma. Pull your soul clear down in so you're well grounded. Now bring up the energy and connect to the heavens. And grasp some of that source energy with the intent to bring down clairvoyance or clear vision. And bring it right into your third eye. Okay, and breathe out. Now we'll take and breathe in. And that third eye, it's sitting right here and it's kind of not trying to open. So you need to literally help it open with your fingers, with your energy. Help it open up, and it'll blink a little bit because it's, in a lot of us, it's not used to being open. So when you open that, it kind of, wow, it's like energy coming in. Breathe in again and open it again. And you'll notice as you open that third eye, things will get really bright in your mind. It'll get almost yellowish, golden white. Now I want you to open it again. Open it with that breath. Our breathing helps our apparatus of our third eye. And now I just want you to kind of scan and look around. If that eye's not open again, breathe again. This gal down in Peru, I had to have her in just the perfect situation to open her third eye, and we were able to open it up and get her seeing what's there. Now, you can use your other eyes too, but I prefer you just kind of keep those closed and just look around with that third eye and ask that it see what energy's around us. In this room right now, it's kind of interesting. We have, I'm just going to describe what I'm seeing. And obviously I see, your auras sitting here, and they can be seen through the third eye. And what you'll see is as you turn your head without your eyes opening, you'll see two bright spots, because there's two other people in the room besides yourself. And sometimes you'll see your own aura around you. And right now mine's kind of a yellowish, greenish blue as I focus more towards me, and then as I focus over at Leia, it's interesting. Leia's got a lot of pink and orange energy. And you're more of a greenish yellow hue. So it's interesting. It's interesting as you look. And so just kind of set with that for a sec, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about clairvoyance. There's been a lot of studies done on being able to see. A lot of people, they use psychometry. And why I'm going to bring up psychometry is it's looking into a crystal ball or a mirror or water and seeing things in the water. That's a part of clairvoyance, but scientifically they call it psychometry. And very interesting because as you're developing your third eye, we did a little thing at night where we filled pots, clay pots with water, and we all looked into the water. Each one of us had our own pot, and we gazed into it for about 15 minutes. And everybody saw something different in their pot. And it was quite fascinating because everyone sees either what they desire to see or something their guides desire for them to see. And as we described what each person saw, it was a message for them, either from their higher self or from their guides. Isn't that interesting? So clairvoyance can give us a lot of different things. Dreams, believe it or not, are a form of clairvoyance because as you're sleeping, your third eye will see different things and you'll have visual dreams. Some of us just wake up with a sensation, a feeling, but a lot of people wake up with these visions of different things. Do you guys wake up with very visual dreams at all?
I do. I have really vivid dreams.
Yeah. Did you have anything last night?
You know, I didn't sleep good last night because of my long story, but I usually do. In fact,
Yeah.
I woke up trying to remember what was my dream about because I wanted to ponder why I had the dream I did. But
Yeah.
I know it was intense.
Yeah.
But an intense dream last night. I felt intense.
Can you describe it at all?
I don't remember it, but I
Okay.
woke up intense. Like
With an intense
a lot of
feeling.
times I'll have like dreams where there's an attic and it's a secret passageway into an attic and I know where it is. Like I have a lot of that dream. I don't know why. But
Well, that's different levels.
different levels
And
of
it's interesting. I've had a lot of dreams where you go to different levels. I have a little different one than an attic. Mine usually is in a cave, and then I get to a different level in the cave, and I have a lot of dreams of contentions of wars going on, and I'm gathering people into a peaceful place. It's fascinating. A lot of those, and it's interesting because we're always safe because we choose not to be a part of the conflict. And a lot of that is going on in the world right now. There's a lot of conflicts going on, and it's our choice. The message I get from that every time is choose to be peaceful, choose to lead those who don't want to be a part of the conflict, and lead them to a safe place. It's a very clear message I keep getting over and over and over again. And quite frankly, I think that's part of my mission in my life is to help people get to a safer place, even if it's a safer place within their own body. Because a lot of conflict goes on within our own bodies, and conflict causes disease. And so I help people get to a safer place, a place of healing, a place of raising your vibration. So, interesting. Do you have dreams?
I do, and I'll remember while I'm dreaming, oh, I've got to remember this when I wake up. So it's usually fine.
Yeah.
I wake
Now,
up, other than the remembering that I wanted to remember.
yes.
Um,
So you do bring that with you?
yeah.
Okay, good, good. It's real important to kind of keep a piece of paper and a pencil at your bedside, so that if you do come out of a lucid dream, write it down, because by the time you fall asleep and you wake up again, it's gone. So I can remember many times having really fantastic dreams. I wake up and I go, oh, that was cool. And then instead of writing it down, I lay back down, fall asleep, and it's gone. So some of Einstein's greatest creations came from when he was sleeping, or in a lucid state of even daydreaming. Thomas Edison came up with many of his ideas when he was lucid dreaming. And part of that is clairvoyance. So if you want, oh yeah, Thomas Edison, let me see, experimented with the clairvoyant Bert Reese, and he wrote, they went in with a question, is there anything better than hydroxide of nickel, this is on the bottom of the first page, for an alkaline electric battery? When he rejoined Reese, the latter at once said, no, there is nothing slightly better than hydroxide of nickel for an alkaline battery. Now, kind of an interesting thing, and today we even have the nickel, you know, nickel and alkaline battery. It's fascinating. And anyway, I have a lot of examples of different clairvoyance in here, so you can read those later. Traveling clairvoyance.
Yeah, I was gonna say remote viewing.
Yeah,
That's
you
one
can,
of them.
remote viewing is using your third eye, and our third eye can travel through the astral plane and actually see things. They used these type of spies during the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were using psychic people to spy on each other, and they would even get the codes for their nuclear bombs and everything. And it was kind of a weird time because they were using these highly psychic people to do not so good of things, and it was quite a dangerous time. And so I'm glad we're not doing that as much anymore, which is good. But remote viewing is a form of clairvoyance. Voyance, you know, like there's voyeurs that watch other people. Voyance means watching and seeing what's going on. So let's go to page 3. One of the things I kind of wanted to mention was, okay, right in the middle, this Maginot traveling by clairvoyance to a tropical country, asked to be awakened because she was afraid of the wild beasts. It is within the bounds of possibility that an encounter with a wild beast on the scene would severely affect the clairvoyant's nervous system. So sometimes we travel in our mind and we'll actually see something that's actually there. I remember when I went to Peru 2 years ago, and we were totally done with the ceremony, and yet this voice kept calling me out of my bungalow. And finally I got up and I walked out. It was just barely starting to get light, and there was a lot of fog. It was down in the jungle, and they had put these nutshells along the walk so you'd scare away wild animals and stuff. And in between those was some rocks, and so I was stepping on the rocks so I wouldn't make a lot of noise and wake everybody up. But I went down to the sacred meditation building, and it was locked, and it was about a quarter mile away from my bungalow. And I turned around and I started, it's getting lighter and lighter, and the fog is just dissipating, and I see this puma. And this puma is walking past and looks straight at me. And to this day, I believe I really, really saw it with my real eyes and my third eye, because it seemed like it was speaking to me, and visually it was making contact with my soul. And it was so fascinating because it just kind of said to me, I am here, and I will be your protector. And yet, you know, with my visual eyes, I was feeling anxiety because, you know, here's a big black puma, literally they call them mountain lions, you know, up here, but they're not black like this was. And it was frightening with my real eyes, but with my third eye, it seemed very strong, powerful, and protective rather than scary. So a lot of times with our real eyes, we see things and we go, oh geez, that's a little scary. But if we look at it through our true third eye, we'll get the real sensation of what's going on with that animal. And sometimes in our dreams, when we see something that is scary, we have to realize and look at it through a spiritual eye to see why we're really seeing that. But it's not really a scary thing, it's a teaching type moment. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? So in other words, it's good to develop that third eye sense and look at things through a spiritual eye rather than your real eyes. Another example of that is we'll be driving along and there'll be an accident. And at first I always used to look at the accidents and go, oh geez, this person's probably dead, this is that, through my physical eye. And then I would look at it through a spiritual eye and go, oh, we need to send angels, we need to send help, send prayers. It's looking at it through a different perspective. And so it's real important that we use our vision, not just in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense. As we're gathering data, we desire to send help or send encouragement, send love, send guidance. And very fascinating how we can look at things from two perspectives. Any questions? Nothing?
Yeah.
So let's go to
Interesting,
page 4. There was a couple of things on here. This talks a little bit about psychometry and with clairvoyance. A lot of people would go into trances and they would do traveling clairvoyance, and it's a strange mixture of traveling clairvoyance, clairaudience, and control of the subconscious. And what they did a bunch of studies about this, and I just want to read this one part. On Monday, March 7th, this is in the third paragraph, about 7:30 in the evening, I happened to be sitting quite alone in a dining room and thinking of the possibility of my subliminal communicating with that of another person, no one in particular. I was not for one moment unconscious. All at once I felt someone standing near me, and quietly opened my eyes and was surprised to see, clairvoyantly of course, Mr. J.G. Hiddington. I was very keen to try the experiment, so at once I spoke to him aloud. He looked so material and lifelike, I did not feel in the least alarmed. I commenced, please tell me of something I may afterwards verify to prove that I am really speaking to you. JBGP replied, I have had a beastly row with the name withheld. Then Thompson asked, what about? And there was no answer. JGP answered, he says he did not intend to annoy me, but he said he had been very successful in doing so, whether he intended or not. And after these words, he disappeared. According to Hiddington, all the details were correct. The quarrel was in correspondence. The final remark was addressed to Mrs. Hiddington at breakfast. It was not possible that Thompson heard the remark. In other words, she took on this whole conversation. This morning it was quite interesting. I was laying there doing my meditation and just being very peaceful, and all of a sudden I felt this person in bed next to me, and Vicki was on this side, and I was right here, and it felt like this person was on this side of me. And as I looked at that person, it was a woman, and she was touching my leg, and I could feel the sensation of being touched on my leg. And as I looked at her and she saw me looking at her, she disappeared. It was really a fascinating experience, and that just happened this morning. But that's a form of clairvoyance, seeing something. But I also had the sensation of the feeling here. It was a rubbing of my leg. Very
so
fascinating.
I had that last night. I was seeing, I didn't know if it was true or not, but I felt something touch my leg. Did I? Or because I
Yes.
felt I was singing a sutra to my child, like in bed, like my little 2-year-old, and I felt something just grab my. Did I? Or
Yes.
now that you said that, it makes me wonder.
Yes, and it
That's
was
weird.
it was actually it wasn't a. It feels like it was just a comforting touch.
It was because it was a beautiful, peaceful, spiritual song.
Yeah, yeah. And
But-
with me, it
but I
wasn't
felt
a
it,
sexual
though.
touch.
It was the first time I've ever really felt something.
Just kind of like a stroking of comfort.
It was like a soft, warm, like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Isn't that
brought that
interesting?
right back to me because it just happened last night, and that's interesting.
I thought it was really weird because, I haven't had that happen in quite a while. It's happened to me
It's my
before,
first
but it
time.
hasn't happened for a long time. But I got really strong to let people know sometimes we'll actually call in people done this,
Yeah.
you know, called in people to help me, and I've actually seen them working on me, and then I go to sleep, and it's like they give me anesthesia. I go to sleep, and then I wake up, and I felt like I've had surgery, you know, especially when I had this pancreatitis. And I felt like they were working on me, helping rebuild my organs, helping me heal.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of going to the hospital here and having physically remove my pancreas, which I need, they just worked on it clairvoyantly, clairsentiently. And we can actually call the angels in to help us and work on us, and call healers on the other side. And it's very helpful, actually. And it's very comforting. Like this person this morning, it felt just like they were just kind of petting me,
Mm-hmm.
making me feel good. It was interesting. It was very interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
So, anyway, you know, you always hear about ESP, extrasensory perception, and that's parapsychology, is the ability to acquire information by paranormal means. ESP is not dependent on the known physical senses or on detection from previous experience. And so, a lot of people use the extrasensory perception, which I would describe that feeling I had this morning as an extrasensory perception. And, you know, call in good people. Call in good high vibrating beings to help you and be with you. And call on them to help you see what you need to see, because they will help. Also, your third eye, your viewing part of your brain, the occipital cortex, the sensory part. And it's interesting because just below the viewing portion of the occipital cortex is the hearing cortex. So it's just below in that third chakra. The fifth chakra, the throat chakra, which includes hearing. Interesting. Any questions?
No, but I've heard, out loud, I've heard my name called on several occasions.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
Yeah,
You
it
get a
seems
call and you start
natural.
looking around going, who the heck's calling me?
But it seems so natural that it doesn't alarm.
Yeah, and you want to pay attention to it. The one really good thing about visual is we're so in tune to it anyway, that it's really good to close your eyes and just be and see. Like a lot of times I'll be healing people, and I'll get filled with all this muddled energy from the people I'm healing, because I'm very empathic, and I take on a lot of their stuff. So I go outside and I'll sit in the sun, and I'll call on the sun people, close my eyes and call on the sun people to come clear that energy. And when they come, it's really interesting. You'll see these sparkling beams of golden light come and clear your body. And so today, if the sun comes out, I recommend going out and just facing the sun and asking the sun people to clear your soul and your spirit. And it's interesting, within about 5 seconds, you'll see these little sparkly beams of light come in and start clearing it. And you'll see them with your third eye, because you don't see them with your regular eyes. Because if you did, you know, when you're sitting out there facing the sun, it's pretty bright, and there'll be kind of a pinkish, yellowish hue. And just wait a few minutes and keep calling them, and you'll see these sparkles coming down from the sun. It's very fascinating. It's fascinating. And Prince Caspian was on TV last night, and the star person that comes down and appears before them. And you know, these different beings, these different stars actually carry energy and carry planets that have beings on that will come and help you. So if you're looking at the stars at night, even call upon them to come help you and assist you. It's fascinating. Being out in nature and calling upon the different aspects of our universe can be very beneficial for your body.
How can you be sure they're higher vibration? So that
Only when you call them in, you say, only those who are for my greatest and highest good come and visit me. You know, the lowest vibrating beings mostly are humans who died in a low vibration. And so if you see any of them, send them to the light. Help them go to the light. Part of our job as assist other beings to evolve and to raise their vibration. And a lot of times the only way they can do that is going to source energy or the light. So, does that make sense? Anyway, I'm all done. That was a quick lecture today,
That was
which
good.
is good.